Welcome to the Intuitive Rising podcast. I'm your host, Amy Brooks. This is a podcast that invites you to remember who you are, return to yourself, and rise into your highest and best soul self. Every week, I will be sharing inspiring conversations about topics that hold keys to your awakening. My mission as an international evidential psychic medium, Reiki practitioner, and intuitive mentor is to help you rise into who you were born to be. Enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Intuitive Rising podcast. I am your host, Amy Brooks, and it is so lovely to see you again, to connect with you again. We're here today with a special episode as I have a guest. It has been a while since I've had a guest, but I was really feeling kind of pulled to send out a little bit of an invite on my social media that I was looking to have more guests come on. I'm feeling this like deep need for community right now. And I feel like a lot of other people are feeling that as well in a big way. So I had quite a few responses. And over the next couple of months, I will be meeting with all of those people and putting out some brand new content for you. I feel like it's important to have new perspectives and introduce you to new members of your community and just create that kind of connection for you all. So I'm really excited about that. Our first guest in this little series of guests on the podcast is Janna MacLean. Welcome, Janna.
Hi.
Hey, and Janna is a potter and a Akashic Records reader, as well as a teacher, a former teacher professionally, correct? But still in corporate. I think once you're a teacher, you're always a teacher. So you'd be teaching it in different ways. And Janna and I kind of met or connected, I feel, many years ago. I feel like we have this 6 degrees of separation through some like mutual friends. And maybe that's how it came about. I'm never quite sure. And Janna had a reading with me a couple of years ago. I'd say like maybe 2022, 2021. I'm not sure, but I feel like when we first connected, it was you booked a reading with me and you were still living in Alberta. Was that correct? I feel like, yeah. And we connected to some like intuitive guidance as well as connection to loved ones that you have in the spirit world. And that was my introduction to you. And then from there on out, it's just kind of blossomed into this connection that we have now, this friendship that we have now. And we have not yet met in person, but I do plan to make that happen at some point soon, especially now that we're only a few hours away. So I'm really excited about that. But when I was thinking about having Janna on, there was a certain word that kept buzzing around in my mind. And this word is kind of like not commonplace. I don't know if like everyone would know this word. It's a Greek word. And I believe the way I pronounce it, at least, is Meraki. And it kept rolling around in my head. And my introduction to this word was through my favorite tarot deck, which is called the Light Seers Tarot. And the Eight of Pentacles, which is a card that I tend to pull often in my own connection, like when I pull a card for myself, is in the guidebook of this particular tarot deck. She uses the word Meraki to kind of give a idea of what the Eight of Pentacles is all about. And that's like putting your soul into something. And it's also about like longevity and like doing things not just for like the short-term gain, but for the long-term gain. It's about doing something for the joy of doing it versus, your next big fix or whatever. It's kind of like that. I'm going to put myself into this, and like wherever it goes, it's kind of the cherry on top, but the essence, the reason that I'm doing it is because I enjoy it. And I think that's what soul work is, kind of like a cherry on top if you're successful with your soul work. And I also feel like most of us, when we are really invested in our soul work and we do put ourselves in there, we are rewarded with success in the long term, right? Because I feel like the universe responds to that vibration of joy and curiosity and excitement. And when you're putting yourself into it, that's what you're doing. But so I kept having this word kind of buzz around, Meraki. So I reached out to Janna and I said, this is what I was thinking. Are you down with this? And she said yes. And I feel like she has more to say about that in a moment. We'll get to it. But I'm going to briefly begin by telling you from Google what this word means. So it's a Greek word that describes doing something with soul, creativity, or love, putting a part of yourself into your work It implies a sense of passion and dedication where the individual leaves their essence or invisible signature on their task at hand. And it's a concept that emphasizes the importance of putting your heart into what you're doing. So I love that. I feel like you do that. So let's talk about that a little bit more. When we talk about soul work, Meraki, what does soul work look like for you, Jan?
Okay, soul work. For me, it comes out in my pottery. It's like almost like a channeling of creativity that
Yes.
comes through. So I didn't want to put myself in a box. I was very nature inspired. And I
Yes.
still am. It's just I love my whimsical pieces too. So I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to figure out how can I combine my love of nature, but not stay in this nature, even though I love it dearly, and then still do my silly pieces
Mm-hmm.
when whimsical myself, my personality. So
Right.
when you brought the word up, I was like, this is perfect. I don't know why I was calling it Marakai, but
It
it's
might be. It might
or
be.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Yeah. So either way, that is totally a word that I've been almost living for a long time, like
Yeah.
without knowing it, following my intuition, my soul
Yeah.
led space.
So
So here, yeah.
So it sounds like soul work for you is a combination of like listening to your intuitive connection, your intuition,
Mhm.
as well as the kind of the innate like essence of who we all are, personality wise, etc. The things that we like to do, anyways. It kind of validates like what comes in often for me when, especially if I'm doing like a higher self reading for somebody, or if somebody poses the question like, "What is my purpose or what am I here for?"
Mhm.
It often
Mhm.
goes back to, and it's interesting you use the words like didn't want to be in a box, because I always hear that from spirit when I ask about this question in particular, which is like, you humans love to put yourself in boxes, and
Right.
maybe you're expecting us to say you are meant to be a journalist or a
Yeah.
teacher, but it's not that. You may find your soul work in that chosen profession, but it's more about like an essence of something that is like innately you, and you get to express it in that
Yeah.
profession. So it
Yeah.
might be like for me, for instance, when I've asked this question, it always comes back to connection. Like that's my purpose. Whenever I ask the question, it always comes back to connection. And I'll give a little exercise later as to how our listeners may be able to like a tangible lesson of how they can get to their word or buzzword, their
Mm.
soul purpose. But for me, it comes down to connection. So it doesn't really matter what I'm doing in my world in terms of like my career or my job. It has more to do with, is this kind of scratching that itch? Am I feeling connected to myself, to people around me, to my world at large, to my community?
Right.
Hence, hearing from my own spirit, hey, it's time to build more community. It's time to connect with your community a bit more, hence
Yeah.
having you here today. So it always
Mhm.
comes back to that. If I'm ever feeling out of sorts, it's like connection. And I ask myself that question, where am I not feeling that? So for
Yeah.
you, if I was to put you on the spot, I know that I didn't ask you this question before.
No, let's do it.
Something that comes to your intuition immediately, or your mind from your intuition when I say like, what are you here for? What's your
Mm.
purpose?
Oh, I love that. It's almost like sometimes like, what kind of legacy will you leave?
Yes,
I guess.
yes.
But I just that is putting me on the
I
spot.
know it is.
No, but I like this. I like this. Let me think. Um, I think it's beside all the things that I do. It's
Yeah.
like being the person I want to be for my daughters. Like it's
Yes.
the good person, the doing,
Yeah.
like just teaching them just to like see what needs to be done and like and just I feel like we're here. Maybe my purpose is just to always just be there to help out. Just keep, you know, facing forward and keep just helping others like
Hmm.
in anything at all. So I'm trying to teach my daughters that, and I feel like that's why I'm here besides my pottery and my Akashic record.
Hmm.
And when you say connection, right, you were saying making the connection. I do feel my Akashic records, it's all soul connection.
So
So
what I was
it's
just going to say to you is I
Mhm.
wanted you to speak and I wanted you to tell me what you felt, but I also was hearing she's here for connection too. And as you were
Wow.
speaking, I was seeing how what you were saying is like a layer built upon connection. It's like connecting to self, connecting to others and helping, and then
Yeah.
connecting to the greater, like, the greater bigger picture, like your connection with nature.
Yeah.
the connection to
And just,
your family. Yeah.
I'm always saying, like, how can I serve better today? Like, how can I
Yeah.
bring the people to me so I can, serve better for others?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
certainly feel that intention from you, and I know our listeners will as well. So that's beautiful. Okay, so your soul work then, it seems like, is through the thread of connection, and a tool. One of the tools that you use is, and service, I should say, connection and service, is through pottery, is through
Mhm.
teaching, is through the Akashic records. So
Yeah.
have those things shown up for you? Like, I guess we're going to get a little bit to your backstory. Did
Yeah.
that essence of like service and connection that you talked about, and maybe even specifically like things like pottery or being creative, or the Akashic records, meaning maybe
Mhm.
spirituality at large, did all of those things, were they like a sudden realization for you on your kind of path, or were these things that showed up throughout your whole lifetime?
There was some that were sudden. Like the Akashic records was definitely a sudden thing, but
Mhm.
I knew I could feel the pull, and I went for that one. There was others that were very, like, I knew I was going to be a teacher, so that was a mission like I
Like right
had to
from
do.
childhood, you knew you were going to be a teacher?
Yeah, right from
Yeah.
childhood. I had this
Yeah.
book that said every year, like, you can check off what you want to be when you grow up. I just went through all the pages and said, teacher, 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 teacher. I knew I was
Yeah.
going to be a teacher.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so when I got my degree, I heard a voice in my head. It was the first time I hearing something that wasn't my own,
Yes.
and it just to write children's books. So that was a direction I knew I needed to take, and that was a pull. That was like telling me to go that direction. So it took about 12 years to reading to kids to realize, oh my gosh, I could do this. I could write these
Yeah.
books
I
and
could
like
write these
have
books.
them engaged. Yeah, yeah. So,
Hmm.
anyways, I took a little turn and did some children's books, which I'm unpublished author right now, but I feel like I need to get myself back into that area because I have things. I would love for children to read my books.
Hmm.
I actually have a chapter book about. Well, I don't know. It's based in Halifax, about the Halifax explosion.
Really?
And I actually saw a ghost one day. It was a long time ago, before kids, and I was running down Spring Garden, kind of just a side street.
Yeah.
And I was running, and my husband it was started to rain, and I looked over to my left, and up on a balcony, I saw a little girl. I'm thinking about age 8,
Hmm.
but the outfit she had on was not. It was not of these times,
Right.
and so I looked and I saw it, and then I looked back, but I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just see? So I looked back and it was gone. But in my head, I heard a Halifax explosion.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, this is not something that I was thinking of at this time.
Right.
So, and
Yeah.
then later on down the road, I wrote a book, it kind of just the Halifax explosion, but there's also the Titanic, and it's about 4 children, and they live in the basement of a library. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
so
very
anyway,
interesting to
yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I just gotta finish the last of the book, so I'm feeling drawn to continue that book.
I'm a big like historical fiction fan when it comes to reading. That's my favorite. I recently read a book about the Halifax explosion, but obviously like an adult book. But it was super interesting. But I
Mhm.
find that interesting because you said you weren't looking to see that spirit person. You weren't going to
No,
look for them. They
no,
just showed up.
just the
So
voice showed
it's
up, I showed up, yeah.
yeah, so it sounds like you've always been open to spirit then. So when I ask, like,
Mm,
when you say Akashic records have been more of a sudden realization, like I feel like the tool of the Akashic records is sudden, but maybe your openness or your curiosity towards spirituality is not sudden. Would that be correct?
I think
Yeah.
so, and of course, I feel like you opened it up, like you cracked the code to me, like, just, connecting with my dad that has passed, and
Right.
just unbelievable, like, readings from you. It's just like, this is spectacular, it's fascinating, and I
Yeah.
just love it so much. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was just so beautiful.
Oh,
And that
thank
really
you.
that was what sparked it all, for sure.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
thank you for telling me that. And I love that. And I feel like when we talk about legacy, when I think about my legacy, it's like other than,
Mhm.
through my children, my community, it's also like from what I do, my Meraki, or Marakai, or however you say it.
Yeah,
Somebody's gonna have to
yeah,
correct us out there in the world.
I know.
Um, that's kind of what my intention is to do, right? Is to connect to people that I'm going to be able to spark something in or to open the door around, you know? So thank you for telling me that. I really appreciate that. And yeah, we had a wonderful reading with your dad. And I was actually thinking about that earlier this morning when I was thinking about you. And like your dad popped in my mind too. I never met in the physical, in the flesh, right?
Mhm.
But I remember connecting to him in spirit and some of the things he said. And did I bring up in one of the readings? I don't know if it was necessarily through the lens of like mediumship that your dad would have said this. It might have been more like an intuitive kind of connection.
Mhm.
Did we bring up or hint on the topic of pottery at all for you, or like
Trying to
doing
think.
things that were creative?
Yeah, I was definitely doing things that were creative for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And then I know that I think there was a card, Tolf. Is it Tolf? He was very writing. I think he's definitely,
I,
is it
I
Tolf?
think it's, yeah, I know what you mean. It's
Yeah,
THOTH.
okay, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Toth. I
yeah.
think it's Toth.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
he came up, and it was definitely my writing came up.
right.
Yeah, there's definitely some creativity things, and I knew I need to be creative. I don't
Yeah,
consider myself an artist, but I definitely am very creative.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so it sounds like there was things that showed up throughout your life, like just
Mhm.
and a knowing, like
Yeah, yeah, I was for
just a
sure.
knowing. Similar to me, like when I was younger, if you would have asked me, once I was a teenager, it changed a little bit, but like when I was earlier than that, like childhood into like maybe preteen, if you would have asked me what I was going to be when I grow up, I would say an author for sure. I was always like writing stories, reading was like
Mhm.
my biggest passion in life. And then as I
Mhm.
get older, it moved into a little bit more of like, I want to be a therapist. I want to be a counselor. I want to be a
Mhm.
psychologist. But so it's funny in a roundabout way how like I may not, well, I am an author, but you know, I'm in a book, a
Yeah, yeah,
collaborative
I have
book.
it.
But I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, I always say like I want to be an author. I haven't done that yet, but I have. I have done it,
Mhm.
but my goal is to do something like self-published or to be
Yeah.
published a single book. We will both do that. I know that we both
Yes,
will
we
be
will.
doing.
I think so. Okay.
But yeah, it's same thing. It's kind of like those things showed up for me all along of kind of an area that I would be super duper interested in, and that would show up for me, even though I went down
Mhm.
started to go down a very different path, and then it just kept boomeranging back in. And I find that
Right,
happens with most of us. Like when I talk to different clients about this idea, it's like things just kind of we're either like working with them in a very obvious way or they just kind of are the undercurrent of our lives, and then at some point they come back in.
right.
Always it's
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
just can't really run away from what you're meant to do.
Yes, I totally agree. I took a little break from my writing when AI kind of took over, the world, and like, just you could just punch in, write a story about a brown mouse and whatever. And it's just that's been stopping me right now. And I need to like get back into it. This is something I created on my own.
Right.
So anyways, I just have to get myself back out there. And I
Yeah.
feel the pull right now.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay. So tell me a little bit about how you got into the Akashic record. So it sounds like
Okay.
we had a reading together that cracked the door open a little bit to like maybe that encounter I had with that ghost was like real. Maybe the
Yeah.
idea that
Yeah.
our consciousness goes on, because, of the information that came through from your dad that validated
Mhm.
all of that. Like, how did that then and how did that take you to where you are now is what I want to
Okay.
ask you.
So I mean, my husband has I have to thank my husband for, creating like building me my pottery shed, which we had to build our house first and then we got my shed. So I just was craving the clay and I couldn't do it without my kiln. So anyways, once I'm set up, I just started creating. And then but in the meantime, I was like, what can I do? Like I just need to do something. And I found oh my gosh, Oracle, like no,
Or
Heal
like
Now. Yeah.
yes, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Kate,
So
Kate,
Kate
yep.
Flick, I found her through you. Only my daughter was going through a really hard time. And, I asked the angels, help me out here because I tried everything. And so I saw something that you and her made a comment to each other. And I'm like, oh, I just clicked on her page. And then that's where that whole opened up that whole world to the
Mm-hmm.
Akashic record. We
Mm-hmm.
did she had one for children. And I don't know if it wasn't Akashic Records because you can't open up somebody's records until they're about 18, but it was more intuitive guidance and Reiki, what Kate did. And it blew my mind and it was amazing for my daughter and to understand my daughter so much more that I took a session too. Cause I was like, this is so cool. Like, I'm like, I need some help too, on different parts of my life. And then I did a past life reading with you just the month after I did this with Kate.
Yep.
And just flying me forward. It was like just like a tumbleweed, like it just kept going. So I did that with Kate. I did what was it again? What did I say? Oh, a past life.
Past life. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course there were some inner child things that I really needed to work on. And so I did. Did you ever hear of EMDR?
Yes.
Like eye movement.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've healed. It was like incredible things happened in that little office. We're talking like ancestors showing up. They were like pillars. I know it sounds so wild, but I had a release happen that I needed, and it was because of you and for Kate, and to make me have this like, I don't know if you want me to tell the story.
Yeah.
It's
So just
so
backtrack for
wild.
1 second. So you
Okay,
had
okay,
an
okay.
EMDR. So then you were like inspired to book an EMDR session. Is that
Yeah, like
correct? With
I had a friend.
someone else. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so just to look into my inner child pretty
Right.
much and see what needs to be healed in that. And somebody recommended this person. So
Right.
I had a session with him and the first session was just incredible. It was like, a lot of tapping and then there's, if you're not sure what EMDR, and then I think it's EMDR,
I think you're right.
eye movement, EMDR. Anyway, you follow his finger in your eyes
Right.
and then you do some tapping. And then I felt very heavy in my legs for a long time, and I didn't understand why. And I just know that these are the things that are showing up because you need work. You need to do something. So if you're finding something physical in your body, that's usually a sign that there's something you need to work on, is what, from my experience.
Yes.
And so I walk into this guy's office, and I had my shoes on and everything. We just kind of walked in. And we did the sessions, and then he's like, where do you feel like the energy? The energy was just flowing through my legs. I couldn't believe it. And then we kept doing our session, which is eye movements, tapping, and, some breath. And then I could feel it like this energy leaving my legs, like going down my legs. And then it was stuck kind of in my feet. So I was like, we kept going. And I'm like, no, nothing is really happening. It's just stuck in my feet. And I told him, I was like, I feel like I need to take my shoes off. And then, so I did. And then we kept going, doing our session. And all of a sudden, it was the time was, our session was ending. And he said, yeah, I'm like, I just feel it in my feet. I think it's gone, whatever. Like, I wasn't really sure. And he said, the day your dad died, what were you wearing? And I said, I was wearing shoes that were too small. And then this
Wow.
sound came up out of me and out of him. Like it was like a release out of both of us. And I can't even do it now. Like
It's like
it was
guttural.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was so crazy that it came through both of us at the exact same time. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting tingles in my
I
legs
feel like I'm going
because
to cry as you're saying this. Like I can feel the energy. Yeah.
it
Wow.
was I was wearing my aunt's shoes that were too tight, like through the funeral, and it was just nice shoes. Like I didn't have nice shoes for a funeral, and
Right.
it was stored
Stored like the
there.
trauma and the grief.
Trauma, the grief,
Yeah.
the
Shock, all of it.
disassociation. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so
Wow.
I needed that so bad. So it was just like, wow.
So since then you haven't felt that like heaviness in your legs?
No, I have not.
Wow.
I
That's
know. I've
amazing.
gone back a couple times because I'm like, oh my gosh, this has just been amazing. And a few other things that needed to release. Like even just money blockages. I remember I went there to do that because I just feel like I can't receive. And so
Right.
I don't want that as I'm opening up a new business.
Right.
And so that was where my ancestors came in to the room. The whole room I could feel it being full.
Yeah.
And it was like pillars, and they were just thanking me. They were just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for like releasing this even off of my ancestors, the stress of money or the stress of not being.
Yeah. I love
And
this.
so, yeah, so
So
that
how did,
was,
oh, sorry to interrupt.
no, that's it.
How did they show up for you? Like, was it something that he was bringing through, like he was experiencing, or was it more like you were seeing them? Were you seeing it
Okay.
them as pillars?
I see it sort of like I see it in my Akashic records. Like
Right.
I just knew that they were huge, tall, towering, yeah. And it's
Like
just
light.
you could feel the room was full. It was like he could feel it too.
Right.
He, like, I call him a little wizard. Yeah, he definitely has. He's
Wow.
amazing.
I'm
Amazing.
gonna
Yeah,
have to get his name. Maybe I'll have to take a
I
little
will.
trip. I'm assuming he's
Yeah.
somewhere locally within the next
Yes.
little couple hours. Yeah, because for I was resonating so much when you're talking about ancestors and especially around money block, because
Oh,
time and time again, whenever I connect to like my ancestors or when I pull cards, like I have a book. I'll link it in the show notes. I can't remember the name of it right now, but has something to do with ancestral healing or like connecting to your ancestors, but through tarot. It's a really cool
okay.
workbook. And you
Cool.
like pull cards with asking specific questions. And one thing that kept coming up throughout the whole workbook for me of was around money blocks. And it was around like the ancestors and how there's like this feeling of lack or scarcity and not enough and like all this trauma
Mhm.
around not having
Yeah.
enough, which I feel
Yeah.
like it must be so common with the majority of our ancestors
Okay. Yeah.
collectively based on
Okay.
our history, right?
Yeah.
And now we're like entering a new kind of stage of consciousness where we realize that money is energetic, therefore
Yeah.
it's not as
Absolutely.
limiting, right?
It's
So
not a
cool.
negative thing. Yeah.
It's not a
Mhm.
negative thing. It's a thing that can flow to you. It's so, yeah, so cool. But yeah, I definitely resonate with that idea as well.
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
ever work with your ancestors intentionally? Like, do you ever like call them in? Um, how does
Yeah,
that work for you?
I definitely like, maybe when I wake up in the morning or go to bed at night, I talk to my spirit guides, ancestors, just mostly thanking them for
Right.
showing up and protecting my family, my home, those type of things. And in the morning I ask them to, so I can be of service to others. How can I best be
Yeah.
of service to others? That's all I really say. But I've definitely did a lot of Kate flicks, like, ancestral, I don't know if it's meditation or, she has some sort of guided, I feel like it's more than just meditation. I don't
Right.
remember. Cosmic Wound, that's what it was. It's
Right.
called Cosmic Wound. And I've seen some pretty spectacular things as I've journeyed in that space. Like showing up at my great grandmother's door, bringing her a basket of food because she didn't have any. It was just like,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So if she needed it, it was something that she was just so stressed about, feeding
Yeah.
her children, all
Feelings.
the things, the worries of.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I really recommend the Cosmic Womb healing. I probably did it 4 or 5
Yeah.
times. Yeah,
Amazing.
feel like
So
that's more.
something you can just like purchase and listen to on your own?
Yeah,
Okay, got it. And then
definitely,
I
definitely.
might have to look into that too.
It
Because
was,
that's very interesting. Because anytime, so you and I, like again, we connected before Kate, but like
mhm,
Kate, um, you connect with Kate after through me, and then I've connected Kate. Like we both did Reiki
mhm,
with
mhm,
Kate. Um, yeah, whenever I sit in on any kind of Reiki healing, like when she offers the open sessions for attunements and things like that,
yeah.
whenever I sit in there, like I have a notebook specifically from those sessions. It's wild what I connect to.
I didn't know. It's
It's
wild.
it's wild what
Easy.
I connect to. Yeah,
Yeah, me
yeah.
too.
So tell me about, you were mentioning a little bit in our chat before this session
Yeah,
about a crazy experience you had in the Akashic Records. You want to talk
yeah.
about that?
Well, you know what? It was during my Reiki attunement. So we were just
Yeah.
talking about. I think it was during my was it my Reiki attunement or was it my Akashic attunement? Oh no, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And you're into these frequencies, if anybody's wondering, but it's just a deep, getting your attunement. How would you describe it? It would be a deep meditation,
Yeah.
and so it brought me to a parallel universe. I'm still, as I was, I was watching it as a movie. If you want
Right.
me to go into this,
I would love to
I
hear
said
it if you're open
it's
to sharing.
crazy. Only because it's I say crazy for lack of better terms. It was pretty eye-opening, life-changing, all
Yeah.
the things. Okay, I do wish I could like make the movie so people could see this because it was wild, but
I wish that all
um
the time. I'm always
I
like, I wish I was more artistic in the sense of like the
yeah,
ability to draw, because
yeah,
I would love to show people what I
I
see.
see.
I know. And I'm
Absolutely.
like,
I say it all the
when,
time, like I wish I could do this. I wish I could draw this for you.
yes, that would be
Yeah,
an amazing book.
yeah,
You need to
yeah, yeah.
find an art. We'll find an artist.
I'll
Somebody
describe it.
who
I'm like,
can,
no, no.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the word. There's
Yeah,
no words, right? And I just quickly
yeah.
want to say, it's like, I don't think anything's going to be too off the wall or crazy for the
Okay,
listeners here. I
okay.
also
That's
think that
good.
it's going to validate, because I feel like experiences like this, whether they come because we do some sort of attunement or guided meditation or a dream, I
Mhm.
feel like it's
Mhm.
much more commonplace than we think. We just don't talk about it.
You're right.
We don't feel like comfortable to
The
talk
space.
about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but I think that so many of us experience those kind of things, and yeah, so I think there's value in
yeah,
talking. But yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, I love sharing it because it's just pretty wild. And who else am
Yeah.
I gonna, you know? Okay, so soon as I started the attunement, it's a guided meditation. I'm in. I just pop into this other entity, world, realm. I'm not sure, but what I'm seeing is there's somebody beside me. I'm not somebody. It's a voice for sure. It's like I'm
Mhm.
not doing this alone. So it's this hooded. It's very hot desert planet, and there's this hooded being. You can't see him. It's very protected from the sun. The sun must. It's very hot, and it's on this almost like a three-wheeler bike. It's like two wheels in the back, one in the front, and it's just this cloth. This like wicker kind of cloth over top.
Mhm.
And I could see its fingers on the motorbike, and it's these long bluish gray fingers. And
Mhm.
so I'm just watching. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But then I had a knowing that this is me. And so that was wild on its own. And then as it was driving very, very fast, a piece of, I guess, earth opened up. I could see the sand all coming down because it's just sand up on the top of this planet. And I zoom on my little bike, like fast bike, through this area and then down into this, space. And it's very, like, feels very industrial. It's not like cozy with pillows or anything
Mhm.
like that. But it's a circular cylinder down under there, and there's stairs on the sides. And then there's like a headquarters base, and I'm one of the I want to say top dogs, but I'm one of the people that is running this place.
Right.
And and so just because I'm in this important spot, there's families all around. There's children down below. This is where I see what I look like for the first time on the side because it's all open in the center. I see somebody like my partner, and we like embrace, but I'm like, if I haven't seen the avatar, I would have to try to explain it, but it is very avatar like.
Mhm.
Um, how tall, slim,
Mhm.
same kind of color, bluish, grayish. And I was deeply in love with this being.
Mhm.
But as I'm watching this, I felt like, I'm like, oh my gosh, not that like this is like, I have my husband here. I'm like, I don't think I want to go any further. Like, I felt such love for this being. I'm like, oh, this feels weird because I have my husband here. It was just so strange.
Mhm.
The, the voice beside me said, no, just keep watching. It's going to be okay. You'll be able to go back into your
Mhm.
own life. So I was like, okay. Because I'm like, anyway, so then um, it's like flashes. So then all of a sudden, I'm I'm with child. But then again, I'm saying child, but it is not a child like we would have here. Like there's a lot of words that I don't know how to fill in.
Right.
Like as I was writing it out after it happened, like a mad scramble. I'd underline a bunch of words because I'm like, no, that's not the right word.
Yeah.
But what it was that I to have a child, another was so rare in this planet, in this world, that it was the greatest gift and will only happen to you once, and you'll only have
Right.
one if you ever get to. So it was like saying that this was a huge deal.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, just like that, like a click. I'm laying on this, like, it's like a metal gurney. I'm like, as I'm watching, I know in my head, I say, oh my gosh, I'm sick. Like I'm sick. Like I feel like I'm going to die.
Mhm.
And I have this being within me, right? And the only way that they would save my life was to take the life force from the being to give to me. And then I would have no longer be with child. And so that was a huge thing. And only my husband could do it. I don't know if he was something else at that time, that this being, this partner of mine. And so he had to do it because we had such connection. And then I didn't have a life within me anymore. And it was definitely something that I had to overcome, like as in this planet.
Mhm.
But I got through it, and then I would go to the bottom of the cylinder and play with the being, the little ones that were there, and just be positive. And it was just keep living my life, knowing that I would never have another. And again, another little flash, and there was somebody presenting me with one of their children. And it was such a huge honor. And I just kept asking, as my human self watching, like, where's she going? Where's she going? Like, this is such a huge deal to have like a baby in this planet.
Mhm.
But I wasn't getting a clear answer. I just it seemed like they were leaving the planet. They were going somewhere else, and they couldn't take it for some reason. It wasn't clear. But anyways, I was gifted this child, and it was like I could, like we all do children, but like cherish the way it would walk across the room. Like I was just watching it, loving it, and I couldn't wait to teach it about like nutrition and food and like
Mhm.
the sky. So at nighttime, you could go up to the top of the planet and look at the stars.
Mhm.
And I remember teaching it about food. Like there was just this banquet, and I was wondering what kind of foods they would eat in this other realm. Um, and it was very similar to ours, but I just kept hearing like no red meat, no red meat, no red meat. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then I took it as like maybe I, in my human world, like, should I not be eating red meat as I was going through some things health wise? Like, might have been something that I needed to eliminate from my own diet.
Mhm.
And so, anyways, then it was just loving this being. And then I remember going up to the top of the stars, and I heard, um, as my human self, look upon the stars, there's parallel versus universes of yourself looking down on you. It was just like,
Wow.
it's so wild.
And it's hard to put, I know what you mean. It's hard to put words because there are
Yeah.
no like our earth equivalent
Yeah.
words.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the question I was going to ask you was, do you, and I think you just answered it. I was going to say,
Mhm.
do you think this is like occurring as you are living? Like, is that right
Yeah.
now
Yeah. Right
or
now.
from the, it's right now?
No, I feel
Ooh,
like
I
it's
got
right now.
goosebumps.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely
Right.
right now.
So you just got a
And
glimpse of like
yeah,
witnessing what else you are doing.
yeah,
And then they
yeah,
would be able to take a glimpse at what you are doing
yeah,
here. That's
yes.
so cool.
I know. So it was very wild. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting any little bits. I remember trying to ask questions as I'm watching this movie pretty much play out. Like, why can't they go up on the top of the sand? I feel like I asked, like, they can't live out. It was just so hot. Like, it was just like this desert of a planet. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was so wild. And then I'm like, what? Like, I never had aliens, but like, I never had um, that experience. So it was very new to me. And yeah, I was just trying to navigate that as, I tell my friends or something, and they never had that experience. So it was just,
Right. You have to kind of experience to like I as you speak, I can like feel it. Like, so like I know it's truth and I know it's real, but it's
yeah,
because I experience, I haven't experienced that, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
experience other things. But like somebody that has never experienced anything like that, I understand that it'd be like, what? It's
yeah.
almost like watching a
Crazy.
movie. Like, okay. It's just something that
Oh,
you have to experience. I think it's the same as like any sort of spiritual work, like
mhm.
mediumship. Like a lot of people are like, "Nah," but if they had the experience, they'd be like, oh.
I get it.
Maybe
Yeah,
there's
you're
more
right.
to that. They get it because they experience it. Can you talk about the Akashic records a little bit?
Sure.
So, so
Yeah.
yeah. So what I was going to say is like, I've had somebody come on, her name is Emily Bernard, and she's come on
Okay.
before. She's a friend of mine in Colorado who does a lot of work with the Akashic Records as well as astrology.
Mhm.
She and I talked a little bit briefly about the records and like how that may be similar to what I'm accessing when I do a past life reading. And then it kind of brings
Mm,
questions to my mind as, is this the past or is this just parallel? Like, so when I'm picking up on a past
right.
life of Janna, is that
Hmm.
actually occurring in history? Because we have to think about time is so different when we talk about
I
spirituality
know. It's
and
not
place.
linear. Yeah.
It's not linear.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it my perception? Do we use the word past, but like, is it really occurring all at once? And
Right.
therefore, like, I guess my question is, do you believe, or do you, it can be a personal experience for you,
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
personal opinion, that the Akashic records, because it's kind of like a record of all that there is and ever will be kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that accessing, I wonder like about the linear piece, like are we access, if we access somebody's records, are we accessing the past or are we accessing just parallel versions of
It's a good
self?
question. No, that's a good
Yeah.
question that I don't know personally, like
Yeah.
myself, but I do feel that when I go into past lives, it has been the past.
The past
Like
past.
it
Yeah.
has been the past, but I've definitely know what you're talking about. I've read and listened to a lot of things. There's like past is happening now simultaneously, and maybe
Right.
it is, but for
Yeah.
maybe for to understand on these terms, like in human body terms, like in our mind to grasp, it's a it's definitely a past life from what I feel when I'm
The
in a
records, you
record.
mean, or the
Yeah,
past?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking
And
like
so
the implications of like,
I
okay, so say
know,
like we have all these parallel existence like now that
uh-huh.
are occurring, but
Yeah,
like also like there's a version of me from the past, and then that past version of me also would have had all these parallel, and then it
yeah.
like kind of gets me to like, is there one of us, and then all of us are just experiencing these different branches of experience, it's like,
I
I don't
know. I
know, it's like wild when you really think about it.
think our minds can't handle what
No, I don't think so.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, it's just,
Too much.
yeah,
Like
who really,
we
yeah,
don't have the capability of
capacity,
truly,
yeah.
no, the capacity to really
Mhm.
understand. That's why, like, I always say when people ask me about the afterlife and things, I'm like, this is what I'm experiencing, but like, please know that I'm just dipping my toes in this for the purpose of being a
Mhm.
messenger for you. I don't
For
get to
sure.
go there until it's my turn too.
Yeah.
There has to be a level of mystery. Like, I'm not going to be able to know everything about the afterlife
Yeah.
while I'm
Yeah.
living.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just can tell you, I know for sure there is one based on
Yeah.
the experiences that I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even watching those near death experiences, I feel like I've watched so many of those that I'm like, okay, like they're very similar. You must I know that you've watched them too, like those, YouTube near death experiences
Yep.
where explain, yeah. So I feel, and sometimes they're very similar and it's not a scary thing, it's not something to be
Well, did you know that I
fearful.
had a near death experience?
I think yeah,
At
choking is
6.
the thing.
Yeah, I
Yes.
was sick. But yeah,
Yes.
when you were describing your ancestors coming in like pillars, that
Mhm.
made my hair stand up for 2 reasons. One, you probably can't see on my shelf back here, but there's almost like a cartoony version of myself. There's a picture of me back here on the shelf.
Okay. Okay.
It's an art. So I had an artist, I Cosmic Wolf, I feel like her name was. Anyways, I'll link her in the show notes. I don't know if she still does this work anymore, but she did like soul art essentially. So I
Mhm.
sent her a picture of myself, and then she would just, as she was like recreating the photo, she would intuitively tap into different things. And so you can't really see it, but there's like tons of colors. And behind me, there's all these like pillars, but also these like streams. And she said it was wild because you're the first person I've ever done this for, where it wasn't just like, the basic aura colors. She's like, you had so much white in your aura, and I've never seen that
Oh,
before. But she said all of these, for lack of better words, pillars felt
mhm.
like your ancestors.
Oh,
And
cool.
so that's one reason that my hair stand up. But yeah, what was the other one? Hold on, I'm getting to something. I'm gonna let my mind just flow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um I might have lost it. It will come back. Let's keep talking.
Okay.
So Akashic records,
Okay.
the past. Do you think anybody can access the Akashic records, or is it
Yeah.
something that you should be trained to do?
No, I think anybody can. It's just maybe like through attunement to these frequencies, I have, or whoever gets attuned to these frequencies may have a better, clear, I don't
Clearer
know,
understanding.
understanding of it and a direct line,
Yeah.
whereas anybody can, it just might not, they're, I don't know, it just might not be as clear, or they may need to practice a lot more, to get into just the connection to
I almost feel
the
like the
energy.
key is the knowing. So I feel like whether you're attuned to an energy or whether you just like always have felt like you've been it, like you have it,
Mhm.
I feel like it's a knowing because I talk to people, clients, friends, etc., that have had these experiences, but there's this lack of, so they can visually describe what they're experiencing. They can like give you sounds or words or feelings, but it's this lack of like knowing, or maybe it's a lack of trust of
True,
like,
that's what I was
you know
thinking
what I
too.
mean? I think that's what it
Yeah,
is. So it's like I experienced this, isn't that crazy? But like, you're like it's just like my imagination. Versus if
yeah,
those things were to happen to me, I'd like they just would be truth.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
wonder
I
about
think
that.
so
And I
too.
wonder if the frequencies help with the knowing. Or
I
like the
think so,
almost
really
like,
a clear,
yeah.
clear, like,
Or like the
yeah,
experience, and like how you experience those things. And it's like once you experience them, it's there's no doubt in your mind that it's real or that it's true, right? It's like a knowing.
yeah,
Whereas if you
yeah.
weren't ready for that, you might have just been like, well, that was crazy. Like that, what was I on? So interesting too about the ancestors and like the pillar and the feeling that you had when you connected to them, because that's an experience that I also had, but during my near death experience. So, as most listeners will know, if they've been here for a while, I was about 6 years old when that happened, and so
Mhm.
the people that I didn't necessarily see them like visually. It was more just like a feeling, like a knowing,
Yeah,
and I knew
in the
they were
know.
family, like, and I knew they were ancestors, but I didn't have, like, as a 6 year old, I didn't have memories, like
Yeah,
known memories of those people because they would have been people that had passed before I was
yeah.
born. But what I can share about that, which is really cool, I think, is that a couple years later, I was looking through some photo albums at my grandparents' house, which was my favorite thing to do at their house. My grandfather had
Mhm.
these very elaborate, like 5 or 6 massive photo albums that he had
Um,
taken the time to organize and label, like with names and dates and
oh
places
wow,
going back to
that's
the
amazing.
1800s. Yes. I
Wow.
sometimes wonder if he had an inner knowing that the way like leading up to his passing he had dementia and he would have passed it up, but lost his he lost access, at least I should say, to
Mhm.
his memories, right? So he would have not been able to like that information would have ended with him. And I wonder if that's part of his soul work, was to spend that time and all those years organizing those photos and making sure they were all labeled and left for
Yeah,
us. I wonder sometimes if that's part of his legacy. Because I mean,
yeah,
back in those days, like when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, like picture taking wasn't as big as it is now. Everybody takes pictures of everything. Like our kids' lives are so
yeah.
documented, right? But ours
Totally.
aren't as documented. And certainly
No,
before that, they're like my
yeah.
mom's generation too. But but my grandfather always documented because he always had a camera. So there's pictures of all of
Mhm.
that. So I feel so lucky. But that also has influenced me to be the picture taker of everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyways, long story short, I was looking through one of these albums and I pointed out to my grandmother, I know her. I've seen her.
Oh my gosh.
It was her grandmother, Mary. So it was my nanny's nanny. And
Wow.
she was a medium. So I've told
Oh
the
no
story about how
way.
I've
Can't
told the
believe that.
story of how my great great grandmother was a medium. That wasn't like what she did for work or anything. She actually worked
Mhm.
for the Department of Transportation and Highways in Ontario, but
Oh,
really cool, very multi-layered lady. But she my grandmother told me that when my grandmother was little, she had to live there for the first few years of her life because of a drama with somebody or other. We all have that in our family. But she lived with
Yeah.
her grandparents, and they would say, go along to bed now, like at nighttime. And people would come through the kitchen door, like the side door, and sit at the table, and she'd do readings, and my nanny would sit on the stairs and listen.
That's so
But my nanny never thought to share that with me when I came out as a medium. My aunt one day said to my nanny, her mom, she said, where do you think this came from in Amy? And my nanny said, well, Grandma Mary was a medium. And my aunt shared that with me, and I'm like, pardon? Like, tell me all the things. But I'm so glad that I got to have those conversations with my grandmother before she passed.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
So yeah, that reminded me of like just a feeling and a knowing about our ancestors. And like, even if we don't have shared memories with them, we still know them, and they'll still be there, and they still watch over us.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that you would like to share a little bit about how, like, your pottery, your creative endeavors? I'm so proud
Sure.
of you, by the way. I wanted to tell you that. I really am. I think it's amazing what you're doing. I have one of your pieces behind me. Kind of hard to see, but the sun is shining on it right now. A little pink vase right there. The other day I went out and I stuck some feathers in it, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just show you. I have a couple pieces here.
Okay.
Just
so those of you on YouTube will be able to see these pieces. Those of you who are listening, maybe we can describe, or maybe you can describe what you're holding up. Okay.
I have a website too. It's Cosmic
Yes.
Earth Creative, or cosmicearthcreative.ca. So my pieces will be up on there too to see.
We'll definitely link it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this feather here. This was my inspiration. There's just there's a blue strip. I can't see it very much. Anyways, so I made this cup to be inspired by this piece. So you get my inspiration from nature with it. Sometimes you'll know what it is, and sometimes it's just going to be it could be a pattern on a shell. It could be a rock, or it's what I use to make this cup. And then in the cup, there's a blue strip, just like the feather. Yeah. And then I use like beach rock. So I use there's a beach near me. It's called West Mabel Beach. And I found a rock there. So I've been making these little plates.
I love those little plates.
Yeah. So they're just dessert, appetizer, or whatever snacks you can put on them. So I sell those ones.
And they look like shells.
Yeah, they kind of do.
I
Right.
love
And
it.
it's
Like from the edge, they almost remind me of a shell. Yeah. Beautiful.
And so cosmic earth is just cosmic is my Akashic, and then earth is my clay. So I was trying to combine the two. That was something that really meant something to me. And I didn't know what I was going to name my business until I went into the Akashic Records for myself. And they gave me the name. I thought it was going to be Full Moon Pottery. I wasn't sure. And then they gave me Cosmic Earth. So I was like, oh, well, that works out. Perfect. Then I have little jars like this for something I found on the beach. It's just like
I love that you incorporate that.
Yeah.
I love that you add the thing. Oh, so nice and unique.
Yes. And then my whale cups have been a hit, so it's just always nice.
The whale cup, amazing. I love that as well.
Yeah. And then down here, I don't know if the beaches where you are, I'm sure there is. There's sea glass. We call it sea glass, or I've been melting them on pieces of pottery. So this was a piece of sea glass. So it's just a little different technique. So it makes it look really cool.
Yeah, that's very beautiful and unique.
Yes. And then I have something for you, which I made. Which I don't know if it's even gonna work, but I mean, you can do. I don't know if you have a pendulum, but
I don't have a pendulum.
Okay, but if you ever decide to get one, you can hang it here. This is a little spot. Usually, there's like a ball, so you can hang it here. If you have a card, affirmation.
That's so nice.
And then any little like treasures, rocks,
stone or something.
So you can hang it on your wall.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much.
And the moon sparkles. So yeah,
I love it so much.
Yeah.
And you did a black moon. And I don't know, that my logo has a moon in it.
Oh yeah, I think I did.
And a half moon like that. And my colors are black and gold. So.
Oh, I just saw something too. And my shirt, I've been designing t-shirt. This one is glazed in.
Oh my God. Okay. I need to buy one of those from you.
Yeah, there's a couple more on there too.
I noticed I kept seeing glazed, and I was like, I wonder if that's a pottery themed shirt, but I didn't know you made it. The reason I got really excited is because my best friend of 33 years and our favorite movie of all time is Dazed and Confused, which I know is ridiculous, right? Because really, but it's just like kind of a ridiculous movie, but it's the nostalgia of the movie and the time.
Yes.
So I love that it says that. I'll be purchasing one of
Yeah.
those if you sell
There's
them.
little cards. Yeah. And then I have tarot cards, but I have one with a pottery wheel. It's just called the wheel. It's like a tarot card. One
Wow.
with, I have a puppy that's a golden retriever. And then, yeah, so it's
You're
all on my website. Lots of
Yeah,
different
I'll
little
definitely
on the
link it.
go.
Please check her out because I shared a little bit ago on my social media. So
Mhm.
I had ordered something from your site and it's back here. You can barely see it, but it's this beautiful pink and like um, beigey ivory color
Yeah.
vase.
Mhm.
And or picture. I think it's a picture, but my intention was to use it as a
Right.
vase.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I put it back down here and I put all the things. So Gianna, let me just tell you what she did. So I ordered this from her and she went around and she picked up different things off of her land, like
Mhm.
moss and birch bark and
Mhm.
feathers and leaves and stuck it in the packaging. It was the most beautiful packaging. I got so excited. Even when I think about it now, it makes me so excited. And so I stuffed all of that in there.
Yeah.
And then you sent this gorgeous Akashic message for me on this scroll. It was like a scroll, like the detail was
Yeah.
so incredible.
Yeah.
And I, again, you can't see it, it's behind me on my shelf here, but I had that paper flattened in a hardcover book for the last like month or so. And I just took it out the other day and stuck it in a frame so that I can read it whenever I need a little inspiration.
Yeah.
Um,
I love it.
yeah,
That's
and I
awesome.
get teary whenever I read it. So, do you have an offering on your website where you can have a beautiful piece of pottery that's been inspired by nature, have a piece of
Yep.
nature, but
Mhm.
also included with an Akashic Records reading for that person that
Yeah.
purchases it, right?
Yeah.
Which is
And also,
incredible.
yeah, I also have Reiki. You can get it Reiki infused too, where I put the energies. I did it for one cup that I sent to Sacramento, and I could just feel the Reiki energies in the pores of the clay. It was really wild.
Mm.
Know that it was infused with Reiki before I sent it to her.
And she can like drink out of that every day and be like,
Make it
have
like
that
special.
energy. That's so
Yeah.
special. That is such a unique offering. It made me
Yeah.
so excited. And when I got it, it was just beyond my expectations. Like when I opened the box and
Mhm.
all the little special touches to it.
Yeah.
That yeah, ever since then, I was like, I have to have Janna on the podcast. We have to tell people about this
Yeah.
because it's
Packaging. I love
just yeah, the packaging was so special, but
it.
it's just the
Yeah.
time and the care and the details and the effort and the energy was just so tangible. And I just feel like more people need that. So
Yeah, that's good.
got something very special and unique, and I
Yeah.
wanted
No,
the people to know about it.
yeah, my Meraki or whatever. It's like combo. I wanted to combo them, with my little
Yes.
coffee, my pottery. So I got to make it happen. So it was pretty cool.
And your connection to nature, which
Yeah.
is
Oh
the
my
root
God.
of it
Yeah.
all, right? Like,
100%.
yeah, like everything is
I love,
inspired, and
love
you live in the most beautiful place.
it.
I
Yes.
have listeners from all over the world. If you have not heard of Cape Breton Island, give it a Google. It's an absolute gorgeous place. Um, my roots are there as well, although didn't grow up there, but I found out through my ancestry that Jan and I, who knows, maybe we have some deep down
Yeah.
connection. We don't know, but
That's okay.
my Scottish ancestors, one line of them settled in Mabu, which is where you are, right?
Wild, hey?
Right?
Yeah.
The
It's definitely.
MacLeods, who was my mother, my paternal grandmother, my dad's mom, was a
Mhm.
MacLeod, and she grew up here where I live in Colchester County. But her grandfather came to Colchester County from Nabu, and his like grandfather, great great grandfather, settled in Nabu from the Scottish Highlands. And there's actually a place called Nabu Ridge,
Yeah.
which is where they were. Like, I don't know.
So
I'm
amazing.
assuming the homestead is not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's from the 1800s. It's probably gone.
Yeah.
However, yeah, I got to go put my feet in that land. But all
Yeah.
that to say, when I opened the box, I almost could feel that ancestral connection because of the
Mhm.
pieces from the land, which my ancestors would have stood on as well. So
Yeah.
I thought that was super special as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Oh, I loved connecting to you today, Janna. Thank you so much for
I
the
know, I know.
conversation and all the tidbits about how your own Meraki has followed you
Mhm.
throughout your whole life and what you're doing with it now. And when you say your purpose of like connection and service, like you definitely are working with that in the biggest way. And I feel like you always
Mhm.
had been.
Mhm.
Always
I think
have
so.
been.
I really
As
think
a
so.
teacher as well, like you always have been.
Mhm.
To end with, I'll just give a quick little exercise for you guys, a soul exercise if you're looking for one. I did mention at the beginning that, I kind of found what my soul's purpose was through a series of intuitive work. But one of the things that I find works time and time again with clients or people that I encounter when they're looking for that information, I like to, rather than just provide them what that is for them, I like them to get to it themselves too. And then it usually validates what I felt as well. But one of these exercises I'll give you as a listener is to sit down when you have the time and space and emotional capacity and begin by kind of tapping into, don't overthink it, like allow the information to just show up and don't try to go, oh, well, that was just a minor moment. Like,
Mhm.
why is that coming up? Whatever moment comes up after you ask this question, write it down, even if it's just 5 or 10 things. Best moments of life that just stand out in your mind. You might be surprised with what comes through. It might not just be your wedding and the birth of your child. It also might be like, I don't know, something that seemed minor, but isn't minor at all. And write those things down. And then when you have the time and capacity to tap into maybe times that weren't so great in life, write those things down, what pop up in your mind. The objective is not to think about it. It's more to just let it flow out. And then you'll see there's a common thread between both of those things. So for me,
Mhm.
I was able to see through this exercise that the best times in life, the major and the minor, were times that I felt connected to self, connected to like friends, family, connected to the greater kind of collective at large.
Mhm.
And the worst times was when I felt disconnected from those things. So that led me to this word connection, which then I use to help me make decisions moving forward. Does
Mhm.
this make me feel more connected or does it take me away from that feeling? And certainly I know whenever I feel off or I feel like something's missing, it's because I'm not feeling enough connection. Um, so it seems to work with everybody I've ever given this exercise to. So see what comes up intuitively for you. Like, what is that common thread? For some people, it may be something like freedom, right? Um, Maybe connection. I know there's a lot of us intuitives walking around with this purpose of connection for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for chatting with us today and spending time with us. I appreciate it so much. And
Yeah. I
I know
appreciate you.
people, thank you. I know people will take a lot from this conversation to be able to feel your energy and your intention through the screen. And please go and give Janna a follow on social media. I'll link it all in the body of the. I'm losing the word. You know what I mean? Where is it?
Show them. Show
The
them.
show notes.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
It'll be in the show notes along with her website. Please check it out. If you are in a place capacity to purchase a piece of pottery, I wouldn't sit on it. I definitely would do it. And the Akashic message as well it was so inspiring to me. Like, I don't know what it is, but because it's kind of one of those things that I could say to myself, but because I know it's coming, like I can feel the energy of where it's come from. Like I can
Mhm. Mhm.
feel that it's come from the Akashic. So when
Yes.
I read it, every single time I get to a certain line and I get a lump in my throat and I get like tears come every single time. Like I could
It's
read it
been so
10 times.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because I can feel where it's coming from versus like if I
Yeah.
just wrote those words myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really
I
something
do
special.
cry a lot in my sessions because it's such truth. I've learned that this is like such deep truth that I'm like, but I'm hoping that it comes through as you read the document. Like
Well, I
it's
can tell
amazing.
you it did. It does continue to come
Yeah,
through
that's it.
because I
Yeah.
cry
No,
every
I
single
appreciate that.
time.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good then. Amy, I did open the records right before our meeting and I had something come through. I don't know if I can write it to you and you can put it in the
No,
show
you
notes
share
or
it. We're
make sure
open
I
book
know
here.
it's ending. And I just thought of it. I'm like, oh, I forgot I wrote this down.
What a
Um,
surprise. Okay.
Okay, so this will be our little ending. So I opened the records and I opened them for Amy's listeners, Amy Brooks's listeners, kind of as a collective sort of. And instantly when I opened the records, an image of a thick, wavy blonde hair. So I feel like this would be one of your listeners just needs to hear that you have to listen to your heart. It's like somebody's listening. And then there's another one. It's described as a short, dark, like bob. And the message for that person that says, take, like they're taking care of an elderly person, or it's their job, and it can consume you, like the need to and it's just saying that this is your calling and just to relax, and this is who you're supposed to be. So you don't have to worry about other things that you should have been or could have been doing. This is where you're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then in more of a collective one it said, I just wrote it down. With the trouble of the world today, hearing without speaking is important. Hear in silence and help without receiving. Listen to your intuition. So many have it turned off, their intuition, and they say we can't access you. Your soul has messages of light and love, and that will bring light to the darker days. So be open and listen, and we love you. Just a quick
Oh,
little,
that's so
yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Open
So
to what was the word? Be open to listening without speaking.
without receiving, or hear in silence and help without receiving.
That yeah, that hit
Yeah,
me when I hear in silence. To
and
hear
help
in
with,
silence. Yeah,
yeah, and help
beautiful.
with the need to receive something in return. Just And so many people have their intuition turned off, and it's like they can't get the messages to you as much. So just be open to the light and love. Yeah, it will
That
help in the darker days.
that I feel like comes full circle when we are receiving without expectation or giving without expectation. That is what Meraki is about. That's what doing your soul work
Mhm.
is about. It's
Yeah,
not, it doesn't mean that we can't have goals in our mind of like, so if our Meraki, we are living in that Meraki and we are infusing it into our own businesses, say, does it mean that we can't have goals that we
mhm.
want to achieve and they're connected to money or what have you? Those are fine, but it's more about not getting lost in the minutia of the expectation and doing something for the joy of doing it. And I feel
Yeah,
like when you can get into that place, then abundance and success just naturally follows
yeah, I agree.
because you're doing something without expectation other than I'm enjoying doing this.
Yes,
That's it.
yes,
It's
yeah.
like the expectation and the goal and the like hows and the timelines that mess us up, I
It's
feel.
true. It's true. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I had to let go of perfection and just create. There's
Right.
gonna be,
I've
yeah,
heard that message so many times. Like there's a
yeah.
couple of years ago, I think this might have been like, it was definitely before the pandemic. It was probably like in 2017, 2018. I just had this kind of pull towards doing, when people would do like paint nights and how they were like all the rage for
Mhm.
a while there, where you like get your canvas and then you're all like painting the same thing. Well, I was doing that a lot, like from just watching YouTube videos and doing it.
Yeah.
But I felt this pull, like, do this for the sake of like expressing yourself and being creative without the expectation. Because the
Mhm.
thing that would have held me back from that before was if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it at all. And that's something that follows me in my life
Yeah.
still to this day.
Yeah.
And I have to work
Oh,
through.
for sure. I have to work through it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all do, but I think that magic happens when you can just do it. So the kind of moral of that story is that I did it, and they are not all like fantastic or wonderful, but I had fun and I learned
Yeah.
to let go a little bit, and
Yeah.
that's really all
Yeah.
that it's all about, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. I know you guys will love this episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Take good care, listeners. Bye. If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider hopping on over to wherever you listen to your podcast and giving it a 5-star review. Thank you so much in advance. If you'd like to keep in touch, please head over to my website, theintuitiverising.com, to keep up with all the things that I have been doing. I also have a private Facebook community for people just like you. It's called the Intuitive Rising Community. All you got to do is request to join, and I will let you in. Keep rising.